Recorded. All right, beauties and rock stars. We had him on when he was just starting this thing, dipping his toes in, didn't know what was going on. And now he is full force, making difference. He's having fans say hello to him on the streets. He's the biggest talk in the hockey in Saskatchewan. Man, you go into the rink, somebody knows DJ. I am so proud of him. And welcome back to the podcast, DJ.
Raw Sauce, how you doing, man? Long time coming. Before we get started, man, I'm proud of you, dude. It's good to have you back and hear that voice, man. I understand the mental health break on the side of things, dude. And from me to you, man, congrats and I'm proud of you. So I'm proud of you. So
Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate that. Well, it helps whenever me and you, the early risers, because we want to get our day started, the routine while everybody's still sleeping. We're already at the gyms. You're doing the gym. I'm doing the run because I don't lift weights. I just stick to cardio.
yeah,
And we're
yeah, I
and
mean,
then we're already focused on the task for the day and what we're going to be doing. And then some people they're still just dozing. They're just not hungry enough.
yeah, it's important, man. Obviously, during my addiction days, I didn't have any routine. I didn't do anything for me right off the bat. And when I work with these athletes, when I work with these students now, we're all sauce. Like I get these kids on routines because it's important to wake up early and do something for you. Simple as making that bed, right? And like you said, going for your walks. And I like to go to the gym because I'm not there for the physicality, right? I'm not there to look good. I'm there to battle those demons and better myself, right? Because for the longest time is the complete opposite. So yeah, I need to go to the gym. I need to battle those demons and for my own mental health.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I find when I have my routine, it's you're not making excuses. Like I don't even do anything now. I automatically will be woken up at 5 o'clock. Except for last night.
Yeah.
I never really got to sleep much last night, but I'm gonna have a nap later this afternoon.
Yeah, and then like you said right there, accountability, right? It's important. Hold yourself accountable, and it's hard. But guys like us, man, guys that have been through stuff, especially former athletes that we've been in a competitive life our whole life, and now life after the game, and now being sober is hard enough as it is, right? So yeah, man, hold yourself accountable and do it and get yourself better, that 1% better every day, right? So it's good, man. I'm happy.
Yeah, you're complete right, Jake. Now, some of the listeners they might not know who you are, so just like my favorite movie, Forrest Gump. Well, now we're not strangers. Why don't you introduce yourself to the pod and then we'll dive right into this?
Yeah, my name's DJ McGrath. I'm born and raised in a small town in Kindersley, Saskatchewan, about 2 hours east of Saskatoon, or west of Saskatoon, I should say. Yeah, being a hockey guy, man. Played midget AAA. Had to move away at a young age at 14 to pursue my hockey dreams, and that's where my mental health started coming. And all of a sudden, that rookie party, right? The hazing, the rookie party, and me trying to fit in with my teammates, and I was homesick. And me being a hockey player, all sauce, I didn't want anyone to find out what was going on with me. And first rookie party, man. First time drinking, turned into an alcoholic at age 15 years old, and mental health started slowly. My hockey career started slowly fading. Got drafted to WHL, played out in Everett with the Silvertips for a couple of years, and parted ways and ended up coming back to my hometown, that junior A with the Kindersley Klippers, and finished it off in Red Deer with the College Kings out in Alberta. And I got introduced to a drug out there, that cocaine, that almost took my life. Did my first line of cocaine out there, and again, I was lost, man. I was rock bottom. I stopped going to school. I was my depression, anxiety, and I was too scared to speak up. Being a hockey player, there was really no mental health back when I was playing, and yeah, I had five free years of college hockey paid for due to my WHL, and lasted 2 years out there, man. And life after hockey, dude, just went an everyday cocaine drinking addiction, and almost took my life 2 years ago on June 6th of 2022. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that one conversation, man, that's why I believe in that guy upstairs. That one conversation went over to my mom and dad's house at June 6th, 2022, and I laid out everything on that table, or all sauce, from 15-year-old Deej right to that present moment at 29, and that saved my life. And yeah, man, I've been sober ever since that day, and now I have my past where I get to help out athletes now, get to help out students, and been sharing my story for over Year and a half now. I've been all over Canada sharing my story and doing my part and helping these young athletes, helping these students with their mental health. And I'm a big believer in having guys that have lived experience that these athletes, students can relate with is so important, especially in today's world. So yeah, man, a little bit about me. I moved to Saskatoon a year ago. I'm with a couple hockey teams being their mental health coach and it's awesome, man. I'm slowly getting back in the game. I'm a skills coach for a U16 AA team I just got picked up on. And yeah, man, it's an everyday process, but I'm thankful every day of that June 6th, of that one conversation. And now I know I'm not alone, and now I get to help athletes. So it's a full circle, man. It's an everyday process. It's not like I'm going to be a flick of a wand and I'm going to be okay, right? I just have tools now. I pick up my phone and I call my mom every day. I have routine like you guys, yeah, me and you were talking about. So yeah, man, it's long, but I'm happy to say just over 2.5 years sober now. So it's awesome.
That's amazing, dude. Now, let's say there's some kids listening to this episode. There are kids, I guess anybody listening to this episode, and they're at the point just like you were on June 6th. How did your parents react? Were did they say we know DJ, or were they shocked?
You know what? This is a I'm super thankful you asked me this because I'm trying to talk with parents and everything. The best thing my parents did for me that night, they let me talk. There was no disruptions. There was no, oh my God, DJ or asking me questions. They let me talk. And it's hard enough for a teenager, for anyone as it is to surrender, especially for us men. And everything I've been through, I came out a negative X number of dollars because I was spending money on drugs and alcohol that my parents were feeding me when I was out in college. And it's simple things like that. What's the aftermath going to be when I tell my mom and dad? But the best thing is that my mom and dad let me talk that night. And I don't blame them, Raw Sauce. I was, and goes back to your question if they knew. I mean, they knew I wasn't myself, but not to that certain extent because I was gone away from them. It's not like they seen DJ every day. They would I was so good at hiding it. My mom and dad would call me every single day, ask me how I was doing. Oh, I'm doing great, mom. I'm doing great, dad. But little do they know I'm slowly dying inside. But and that goes back to me not speaking up. And that's why I'm so lenient on telling kids to speak up and talk to your mom and dad, right? It's so important to talk to your support system. But again, half these kids, I work with athletes every day, and half these kids are coming back at me is like, DJ, I'm scared to tell my mom this. I'm scared to tell my dad because my dad's more competitive than me, right? I'm scared about the aftermath. So it's important, man, and it's a big thing. If parents don't know when your kid is struggling, you don't know what to do, and your kids are coming up to you, ask someone for help. It's okay for a parent to ask someone for help because I guarantee someone in your life, you know someone that has struggled in your life. And that's why it's getting everyone involved, right? Getting your aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters, everyone involved. Because the more people know, the more support there is, right? So sorry, man, I'm really passionate on this stuff.
Oh,
And yeah, it's super important to let your son and have a good set of ears when your son is talking. And if you don't know what to do, pick up your phone and ask for help for yourself.
true, true that. Now, I know what it was like because I had to talk to my dad after not talking to him for like 14 years, just saying they need help. Now, I was lucky I wasn't into the drugs or anything like that. I just felt like I didn't have anywhere to live,
Mhm.
and I couldn't get out of it, and I needed the help. And I was like you, like there were so many times I called the phone and I hung up before anybody could pick up
Mhm.
because I'm like, ah, not happening today. I'll do it tomorrow. Because
Yeah.
like what you were saying, I was just embarrassed. As stupid
Mhm.
as it is, my pride took over big time.
Yeah. And that you said that bang on, Raw Sauce. Like, back in the day, man, there was no mental health. It was always suck it up.
No,
It was always and you don't want and I always go back to this. Here's an example. Let's say back in the day, me, you, and a couple buddies, we're going to Roll Sauce's house and we're going to watch a hockey game. Someone's going to bring a case of beer. And we're going to talk hockey. We're going to talk about chicks. We're going to talk about non-important things unless someone gets blackout drunk and then the true start comes out. But no one's going to remember. Then you go to get females and you get a group of females going out and going out. They're talking about mental health. They're talking about their problems in life. And that it just wasn't a thing back in the day. And I lived it, man. I bottled everything up for 10 plus years and I almost lost my life because of it, right? So, and it's a man thing. We have to be the alphas, right? Of a friend group and of our families. We got to be the alphas. Well, fuck that, man.
True.
I don't know if I could swear on here, dude,
Yeah,
but
you say shit, fuck, cunt, whatever you want
yeah,
to
you
say.
know
We're
what I
good to
mean?
go.
Like yeah, it's been going on forever. So it's men have feelings and emotions too. So that's what I do. I talk about my feelings and emotions. And if people don't like it, man, there's the door. You
Exactly.
know, so it's I got no yeah, it's the draw everything, man. I got such a small knit crew. I do have a routine because if I let any negativity in my life, then God knows where I'll be, right?
Yeah, man, you couldn't have said that better, Deej. You couldn't have said that better. So when all this was going down with you, like you were you just getting home from? I guess you didn't. Were you in school or just playing hockey?
When I went out to college, when I went out to Red Deer College, I had to go to school. And yeah, that was the last right after junior. I went out there because I had 5 free years of school because of the WHL. And then I know now I wanted to hang them up after halfway point my 20-year-old year. I was sick and tired of.
Really?
Oh yeah, but I was a player, Raw Sauce. I was the captain my 20-year-old year, right? So I when I showed up to the rink, I was a gamer. I played with that player's guilt, right? I didn't want anyone to find out that I was drinking the night before, the morning of, or whatever, right? So I was a gamer, but I don't know how I did it, dude. And yeah, I went to college after my junior year for 2 years, and I barely went to school, man. I took open studies. I didn't know, but the looking back, why I did take on that Red Deer thing is to get away from my hometown again, get away from my mom and dad, because I didn't want to hide, right? So,
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Deej. Now, when you weren't going to school and stuff like that, were you just getting home, relaxing, and just recovering from the night before?
oh yeah, man, I lived a different life. Like we practiced every day, but we only played games on weekends, right? So it was some days I didn't go to bed because of how bad of an addiction I was. I was going on benders, and again, I was hanging out with people that weren't even on my team. I was friends with everybody in Red Deer, man. I was friends with all the college athletes, all the because I wanted to be the guy. I didn't want anyone to think something was wrong with DJ, so I was the clown. I was the party animal, everything. If you wanted something, I got it. If you want a party, oh, I'll have it. You know what I mean? I just painted a picture on my face because I didn't want to show any weakness and tell people that I have depression or anxiety. Because after every party, man, when I went home, I cried myself to sleep every single night.
Every night.
Every night I'd go home bawling my eyes, shutting my door because I hated myself.
Now, who were you living with at the time?
I had three other roommates, and they didn't have a sniff. They obviously knew that I was doing my thing, but they knew that I controlled it. But no, man, I was so good at hiding it. When there was a team party, I'd get my drugs and go to the bathroom and like hide it from everybody. It was so weird, dude. But it's college, right? I wasn't the only one doing it.
No, you weren't the only one doing it. That's for sure. That's all college is about. When they'll finally get to be away from mom and dad. Let's go do drugs. Ah! All right, thanks, mom and dad. We just screwed up our whole college thing that you paid for.
Exactly. And you know it's scary, man, because cocaine and drinking is such a common thing and people think that you could just do it every so random weekend. Well, that's what I thought, dude. I thought I could control it. Well, that took me by storm, dude, and every day for 10 years straight.
Jesus, like where you was it getting to the point? Did you always have the money to be able to buy the drugs and the alcohol?
Well, obviously, like parents, man, think it's going to school,
The
going to
food.
that. My parents were doing okay back when my mom's a real estate agent, my dad's in the oil field, and
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't really have troubles with money, but when I always found a way, and I can't get a credit card right now, like because I was so far in debt. Like my credit's horrible, but
Yeah.
I can't think about that, right? I obviously I'm paying the consequences, but I finally paid that off. I got all these jobs, I paid it off, but it's paying those consequences, and when you're going through it, roll sauce, you know how it is. You don't think it's that bad, but when you look back, it's like,
Yeah,
fuck,
but
man.
you're not doing anything wrong. It's the other people.
Exactly, 100%.
And
And
if Johnny's out there drinking with you, that's okay because he's there.
mm,
Yeah, that's something. So after all that, did when did you get in your mind being like, okay, I was lucky. My parents were able to let me talk to them. Now I need to be there for somebody else. When did you decide to do this, what you were doing?
Yeah, so I don't encourage this for people because I encourage everyone to get the right help, go to therapy, go to counseling because it is important when you want that help. But I didn't have any knowledge, man. I didn't want my parents to spend another dime on me, dude. So I right after I told my parents the next day, me and my dog, I got a therapy dog named Duke, and he's been through the ringer with me. But me and him went to my lake for 3 weeks and I got clean. That's when I picked up, started journaling. That's when I started doing meditation. I was starting to find myself and remember coming back home to Kindersley. Now it's a small town, man. Kindersley's 4,500 people, so everyone knows everybody. And now I have to tell everybody. And that was one of the scariest things too. But I remember I was about 3 months into my sobriety and I was struggling. I'm trying to, I didn't do any rehab or didn't do counseling. And Kindersley's, it's a small town, so I didn't really have anyone on the same trajectory as me. I couldn't do it with anybody, right? So I'm trying to find ways. I'm going for walks every day. I had to leave my group, right? That's the biggest thing. You cannot get sober if you're hanging around with that same crew. So I had to going down that lonely path and find DJ McGrath again because I was not DJ McGrath. And I remember I was like month 3 into my sobriety, and one of my best friends gave me a phone call, and I was telling him, I'm like, dude, I'm not doing good. I don't know what to do. He's like, Deej, man, why don't you share your story? And I said, fuck that. Not a chance. No one's going to listen to me. I'm still thinking I'm the only athlete going through this. And finally I said, you know what? I got nothing to lose. And I remember I went to Walmart and I grabbed one of those circle lights for your phone. And I
Yeah.
remember coming back home, I downloaded TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And I remember I was scared. I was nervous. I was 3 months sober. I shared my story on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, man, kind of the rest is history. I got flown out to your neck of the woods, shared my story, and I got to quit my job shortly after that. I was selling vehicles, man, and now I got my own business. I got DJMH Coaching. I'm on hockey teams being their mental health coach. I shared my story to schools, communities, hockey programs, sporting programs for over, and this is my therapy. I tell everybody this. This is my therapy, me being able to help out someone, me being able to share my story with these kids. It's my therapy. It's my everything. So yeah, man, that's kind of where everything took off was me being vulnerable. And that's why I'm so big on it, right?
Now, Deej, the one question because I have to you, does it affect you, your mental health, hearing the other people's problems, or is it like whipped cream on top of a cupcake?
Yeah, and that's a very important question, man. That was a big learning curve that I had to do. At the start, to be completely honest, like I get a lot of messages every day, or all sauce with different types of people all over the world. And I was at the start, I tried getting back to everybody. I tried giving someone my all, but it started to affect me. I wasn't looking after myself, right? And I had to take a step back in that aspect of things and pick my spots, right? And that's why I started this coaching program and working with so many kids, right? Because it is important looking after yourself because you can't help out anybody if you're not okay and sane yourself. So I'm pretty big on that. I make sure I look after myself and yeah, my phone goes off, which is awesome. I get a lot of messages and I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing success stories and I love it. But it's at the end of the day, I'm one person, right? So I do the best I can, dude, for that part. But yeah, you're right. You really need to take a step back and look at yourself and how you're doing because it's hard, man.
Because you might be there for everybody's ear, but when you hear 50 some people's stories about what's going on with them, it's going to take a toll on you.
Mhm. You're
Now,
right, dude. Right.
this coaching thing you have, what's this coaching thing in case somebody's listening and they want to sign up?
Yeah, so I've been privileged enough to hang around with a lot of kids, and this goes back to my mental health 3-on-3 classic hockey tournament. I don't know if you want me to get into that yet, Raw Sauce,
let's
but
let's dive into it.
so yeah, I had the privilege. I've created a mental health 3-on-3 classics for 9 to 14 year olds. I'm actually going to be opening it up to 7, 8, and 15, 16 year olds. But I did my first tournament. I always wanted to give back to the kids. I've always wanted to do something. And me being in the game for so long, I wanted to do it for my own mental health, was to get back into the hockey game sometime because I had to leave the game for a couple of years because I was so resentment over hockey because what everything went down, right? So I started my very first 3-on-3 tournament. Now it's not your average 3-on-3 tournament roll sauce. Like I get customized jerseys with my logo on it. I get mental health speakers. I had Killer Kaminsky. I don't know if you remember Killer Kaminsky back in the day. He spoke to the kids. I'm hopefully getting Connor Ingram next year. I'm getting mental health speakers that could talk to these kids. So they have mental health. They have tools for these kids. I have music blaring during the games. I have professional Western Hockey League announcers doing play-by-play during the game. So I just wanted to create a tournament. I sold it out all 3 tournaments, had 112 kids. And I'm going to be aiming for 300 next year. So it's crazy, man. It's awesome. It's great because mental health is needed for all these kids. And then I wanted goes back to these kids reaching out and wanting my help. And I created a 3-month program. It's a day in the life program all through personal experience. Took me a while to do, but when kids want to work with me, it's a 3-month program, bi-weekly phone calls with 24-hour supports, and I take them through 7 different modules. Example is routine. First module is routine. I put the kids through a routine. It's basically roll sauce for kids, for an avenue other than your mom and dad to go to, because sometimes it's hard to go to your mom and dad. And I want to be that big brother figure. I want to be that guy where these athletes, these people could go to without judgment. And maybe they need help talking to mom and dad, right? Maybe Deej, I need your insight on this, or I need help with this. And it's important because athletes speaking up is hard enough as it is. So I created this program, and athletes been loving it. And I also do one-on-ones. People just love getting an hour out of my time, and anything going on in the game. You're having a bad couple games, couple slumps, and it's good to get a little refreshment, someone that has been in their shoes to help out these athletes. So yeah, man, I've been doing it for over a year now, and on top of being a mental health coach for a couple midget AAA teams, it's been awesome, man. Something I wish I would have had, dude, when I was struggling, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you say the one-on-one, are you zooming them or is it a phone call or how do you do that?
Yeah, it was Zoom. We do Zooms. We'll do FaceTimes. Obviously, it's different province. We'll do Zooms, but yeah, it's awesome. I get a lot. It's a lot more effective doing it through Zoom and seeing the person and being one-on-one, right? Rather than that program, it's the one-on-one's the more beneficial.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And you can see the facial expressions too.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
shows a lot because I could say to you, DJ, I'm okay. But then you look me in the face, you're like, buddy, let's go have a little chat. Okay, I'm looking at you right now. This isn't what I know.
Exactly.
Now that's phenomenal, and I like that you're doing that because they know that, oh man, coach is really giving it to me. My teacher's really giving me a hard time. I failed the test, and how am I going to tell my parents that I'm going to have to retake this in the summertime? Oh, don't worry, DJ will be there to talk to you. Okay, so you're going to come up with a game plan. Okay, this is the problem. This is how we're going to fix it, and that's what you advise. But just like you said too, you're not a therapist, but you've been through the ringer before, so you know how you got yourself out, and I like that. I like that way you're doing that.
Thanks, man. It's good. I mean, these athletes, it's tough enough as it is with all these new hockey leagues and all these it's pressures and everything. And then obviously all these athletes, they always worry. I always ask these athletes, like, I want to ask you a question, Roll Sauce. When I ask these athletes, what's say in summertime, like what's your goal? What do you want for next season? What do you think these athletes, the first thing they're saying?
A new contract.
Well, no, let's do like not NHL guys. Let's go back like to AAA or like minor hockey kids. Like, what's everyone's goal if you're a forward D man even?
Score a bunch of goals.
There you go. You ask all these kids, what's your goal? I want to get 50 next year. I want to get 30 next year. And I tell these kids, okay, that is awesome, man, but you're putting so much pressure on yourself already as it is. And let's say you don't get 50 that year. Is that year done? And is that a year of failure to you? No, let's set realistic goals. Let's set goals. How is Roll Sauce going to get to 50 goals? What are we going to do to get you to 50 goals? And what's in your controls and what's out of your controls? Being a good teammate, right? How hard you work. All in your control. What's out of your control is your teammates, your coaches, your points is out of your control. It's kids, man, and Yeah, so that's what I come into play. I give these kids different perspectives, something that I wish I would have done, man. I was so hard on myself. And like now I look back, like kids are so into it game days. You know what I mean? They're thinking about their game, they're thinking about their shift, they're thinking about how many goals, how many assists they're going to get. When they get to the game, they're already mentally drained, dude. And I was the exact same way. And I tell these kids, try don't even think about the game. Go for a walk, breathe, journal. You know what I mean? Do all those holistic things. And then when you get to the game, you'll be ready to go. You'll be fresh. You know what I mean? So it's little things, man. It's all from past experience. So
True. No, that's a good way of putting it, Gage. I like that because not every single person is like gonna be able to get 50 goals, but if they all think they're gonna do that, you have to break it down like you did. I like I like that. Now, when you have a kid that like say he's are you dealing with any like junior guys?
yeah, I deal with, yeah, right from the top down. Obviously no NHL guys, but talk to a couple guys right from the AHL down.
Oh, no way, Gage. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Now,
good, man. And it doesn't matter how old you are, everyone struggles, right? So it's
true.
good. And that was my goal. And that's why I do what I do on social media and to share my feelings, share that because hopefully someone that is listening, a hockey player or someone that is struggling, holy shit, this guy is talking about something that I'm going through. Well, I'm going to reach out to this guy and maybe you never know, right? So
Now, how is the AHL players? Do they have things on like people on their team now for this?
yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer. Like it's gotten a lot better. Even these NHL guys, and you hear them all going, taking a leave of absence, and that I think it's important. And having mental health advocate, someone that has played that game, someone that has been in these players' shoes, it's important, and it's getting better in higher levels of hockey. They do have doctors, therapists, and all that stuff, and guys there from, which is super good. And if someone needs to take a couple of weeks off because of their home life or mental health, no one, you don't get judged anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, good for you, man. I'm proud of you. Good job. Hopefully you get better, right? So it's come a long ways, but still a lot of room for improvement, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you're saying there. Now, what's your end goal this year, DJ? Like, what do you just keep building, just keep staying in your routine, keep being the mentor you are, or do you have any other big plans you have?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you kind of said it right there, man. It's I'm just taking it day by day, still staying sober, and I'm busy, really busy speaking to schools, traveling around and speaking to schools and helping out athletes. And I kind of started being a skills coach for a hockey team, and I was telling my viewers on my social media, like it took me a long time to well, think about it, man. It's I didn't play hockey for probably 2 years, and I stepped on the ice last Wednesday, and that was the first time I felt comfortable on the ice. And I played a year of senior. I played, and
You
it
didn't
never.
feel comfortable when you were playing senior hockey?
No, man, it's triggering putting my full gear on. When I put my skates and helmet on, like that's fine, like the outdoor rink. But when I put my full gear on, but that's something I need to overcome. And I'm slowly getting back at it, and then being the skills coach, so I'm on the ice twice a week, coaching kids. I got purpose, right? So light bulbs. I'm starting to love getting back on the ice. I'm starting to love coaching, man. Like so it's just light bulbs. It's opportunities. It's all that. So I'm just taking it day by day, man. But I'm starting to get the itch getting back on the ice. I'll tell you that.
I like it. I like that. That's awesome, Deej. What did you got anything you want to say to the viewers?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
I
what's
just
what's
want
what's the best advice Deej could say if somebody's going through something and they have nobody to talk to?
well, right there, man. There's always someone out there you could talk to. Pick up that phone. It's social media. As you see guys like myself on here, and that's what we're here for, is for you to open up. And my wristbands, my biggest thing since day one, dude, I got them. I give them all the kids, is it's okay to not be okay. If you're going through anything right now and you're struggling, I'm going to tell you, I've been there. It's okay. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to struggle. But pick up your phone and call someone because there's always someone out there. And another big thing, and I've learned, I got the best family in the world, but sometimes you're going to get the most support from the biggest stranger out there. And that's with me, man. Brawl Sauce, for an example, if I didn't share my story, if I'm not doing what I'm doing on social media, you probably wouldn't have found me, right? So
Nope.
there's always some there's always someone out there that wants to help and has walked your path. And instead of doing it on your own, I tried doing it on my own for 10 plus years, man. You know, that little voice trying to beat that voice, and I couldn't do it, and I thought I could. And the best thing that saved my life was asking for help. If you don't have a mom and dad, if you don't have a support system, you have a buddy, you have counselors, you have hockey coaches, you have people around you where all you got to do is just say, I need help. And that could be a game changer.
I like it. I like it, DJ. All right. Well, I don't know if you've got anything else you want to be telling the listeners, but I feel this is very well. The way you broke it down, it's very educational for the people that are going through a rough time. They might be able to be like, oh, Deej got out of it. He did it this way. I'm going to reach out. I know you're going to be getting a couple people reaching out to you from this episode.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. My phone's always open, and yeah, if you want to follow, it's at DJ McGrath Hockey on my Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So hey, and obviously before I let you go, Raw Sauce, I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
It's hard. It's hard enough as it is to do what you're doing, and you to take that break. I get it and I understand, but you look healthy, man. You look like you're Raw Sauce yourself, and everyone needs a little Raw Sauce in their lives. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
glad you're
absolutely. Lots the birds do too. Yeah, Deej. Well, keep doing your theme, man. I'm really proud of you. Like, you don't miss a morning, and it was so. I really loved it when you always said, "Get outside for an hour," and you would go
Mhm.
on your adventure through the town. But people don't realize, like, people would say, "Ral, aren't you tired running 10 to 15K a day?" No, because the first couple
Mhm.
times you get tired, but when it becomes your routine, it's you could be somebody that you're not looking at your phone for the whole time when you're running. You're just letting loose. You're listening to those tunes. You're listening to the podcast. You're listening to whatever you motivational speech while you're running if you want to do that. Or me, I like my tunes, so I'm always listening to tunes. But it's
Yeah,
the
it's
biggest the routine you sticking with. It's I guess what you could say, you're contagious, DJ,
hey man,
because
I'm
people are
just
gonna want to
real.
do what you're doing because they're seeing how you got a smile on your face, and it's hard because you're not gonna get any kind of haters. But I can see somebody being jealous because you have a smile on their face and theirs, so they might be a little salty to you. What I always do is kill them like kindness. Like
Yeah.
I had a new Snapchat fanboy, and he sent me a picture of me dressed as a gay person in a parade and stuff like that, and he thought it was gonna bug me. I started laughing and said, you know what, this is amazing. I'm gonna use this to let the pride and LGBTQ2RX, just to let them know that I support them. If you want to be a guy, you be a guy. You want to be a girl, you be a girl. Hell, people are being cats nowadays.
Yeah, and that's right, man. Obviously, it's you get heat to anything you do, right? And
Yeah.
it took me a while, like I'm happy you said that because it took me probably over a year to like not really give a shit what people think of me. I used to be worried when I made some posts about my feelings, what someone would think about me. But you're right, like if someone has anything negative to say about someone that is bettering yourself, if you're out there bettering yourself and it's making you happy and your surroundings happy, you got to do the best you can and not let that outside noise get to you. And honestly, if someone's really bugging you and making fun of you, you got to look at that person and be like, is that guy all there? Like, is it like you said, a little bit of jealousy or whatever? But a lot of people lose too much opportunity by fear of judgment and fear of embarrassment, right? So I do the best I can. I'm human, you're human, and obviously we do the best we can to not let that shit get to us. But you can't make everybody happy, right? So I that's just yeah, it's just another conversation, man. It's yeah, I don't let that shit get to me much anymore.
What I do is I just don't read comments.
Hmm.
I'll do my posts and stuff like that, and I won't read the comments.
Yeah, because it's easy. It's easy to get for it to get to someone.
You have two or three people that are salty that day, and they could really mess up your mind. What I do, and it's the best advice I ever got from my buddy, the People's Captain, Mark Caddick. He's over playing in Europe right now. He said, "Okay, look at your hand." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Okay, five. You have five friends, so give me five of your top friends' names." So I did that. He's like, "Okay." any of those guys comment on your stuff? I'm like, no, not one. He's like, okay, if those guys comment and there's something wrong, then you start panicking. Johnny that lives in his mom's basement that is crying because the girl won't talk to him. Oh, I'm gonna try to make this guy feel miserable. Man, that guy, if you have the time to be a troll, there's something else bothering you more than you. Okay, so if you can actually do a negative, I never understood this thing, negative comments. I really don't get how you could go out of your way to try to make somebody's day bad.
And yeah, and there's always someone out there. But one of the best quotes I've ever got in my life, early in my sobriety, it's better having 4 quarters than 100 pennies, man.
Yeah, that's
Stick to those
awesome.
4 best buddies. And I loved how you said that. If you all you got to worry, that's why it's so important to have your corner, have your people, and stick with them. And like you said, nothing else matters.
No, you're good. DG, you still good to go on and just put a little bit more? I want to talk about your junior career instead of just this,
Yeah,
so people knew the hockey player you were.
sure.
Okay, I'm gonna pause this and I'll send you a new link.
Okay.
Okay, recording.